Hey guys, I am Christina, and this is Franklin, my giant Newfoundland puppy. And we're starting a YouTube channel. Careful, Frank. Careful, Frank. Franklin, careful. Just a few months ago, inspired by our friend and vet tech, we started an Instagram for Franklin. And within just a couple of months, he almost has 15,000 friends who are following him on Instagram alone. We've since expanded to TikTok, and we've been working on getting our shorts on YouTube. But a lot of questions have come through in direct messages and in comments like, where did you get Franklin? Like, how do you decide on a Newfoundland breeder? How much does it cost to do this? How many times a month do you groom him? Do you do it yourself? If I'm looking behind the camera, it's because Franklin is actively directing me right now. I'm gonna take a pause and just make sure that we are recording. I also figured, because I'm a little bit of a yapper and there's tons of nuances to owning a giant breed, specifically in Newfoundland, that we should just get on YouTube and talk about it. The first time I ever encountered and experienced the magic that is a Newfie was probably 4 years ago. I actually dated someone with a Newfoundland, and in fact, the first time I met him, I was a little bit freaked out by his size. He was huge. He was over 170 pounds, full-grown adult chocolate brown Newfie. And if you look at them, their size can be intimidating to someone who isn't familiar with the demeanor of a Newfie. The amazing thing about them is, what I learned is this is one of the most gentle dogs I had ever experienced. I grew up with German Shepherds, and little things like if they're chewing a bone or they're playing with their own toy and they don't want you to take it from them because it is theirs, you know, you might get like a growl, a snarl, and I can tell you my Newfie has never done that, and my previous Newfie never did that. They're just the sweetest giants in the world. And I can tell you for sure, when people meet Franklin in the streets, they love him. But to live with a Newfie, like, you guys, it is possible to love them even more. It's shocking. They're so amazing. But just like the love that they share in your home, and you guys, I love them. So I wanted a dog. I wanted a Newfie because I had experience with the Newfie and I fell in love, but also, I'll be honest, it's nice having a dog that is grand in size and can intimidate when I need him to when I'm by myself, but who I know is an absolute love bug. I get questions about, how did you find Franklin? Where did you find Franklin? What did you consider? How much did he cost? How do you keep your couches white? Like, I have so many questions coming in, and it's super cool. You're either tuning in here if you are obsessed with your Newfie like myself, or generally people admiring and considering getting their own Newfie, similar to our Instagram. And so I'm gonna go through every question I could think of. I tried to really jot down some notes on my laptop I might reference and on some papers that I'm holding, and cover all the basics for you. Let's start with finding your Newfie. I'll tell you that it took me years to find the perfect Newfie, and it had little to do with the Newfie and a lot to do with my life and the lifestyle that I was building for my Newfie to be super happy in. And that's a couple of things. The first one is, a Newfie is a giant breed. And I had grown up rescuing dogs. I had German Shepherds growing up, as I referenced earlier. And with a giant breed, I wanted to go through a breeder with the proper certifications. I wanted to make sure that the breeder took care of their dogs. I wanted to make sure, so many details. Why? Because big breeds are more prone to orthopedic problems, things like hip dysplasia. They have skin issues, allergies. There's a huge list of things that giant breeds unfortunately have to deal with. I wanted to go through a breeder that went through the appropriate steps, making sure that their puppies came from super healthy parents. The Newfoundland Club of America recommends health testing for hips, elbows, heart. Oh, okay, couple of things. I started on a website called AKC. I narrowed it down to breeders that had brown Newfies because that is what I wanted. I had experienced a brown Newfie. I wanted a brown Newfie. And then I do think that at a certain point, I filtered it by geography, and then I undid that because I was like, I don't even care. I'll do anything for the perfect Newfie. I love him or her already. And then you can narrow it down to, I think I had like 20 breeders pulled up, and like slowly but surely you narrow it down. You can look at their Instagram accounts, their Facebooks to see what their puppies and their dogs really look like. Do these breeders care for their dogs? Like, is it a clean home environment? Do they have space to run? Like, I wanted to go through an ethical breeder who truly loves their dogs and just wants to spread the Newfie love. Also, as far as like caring what looks are, going on these breeders' Instagrams and Facebooks, which they often have, you can see when people who have purchased their puppies through these breeders have tagged the accounts, and you can see what they really look like, because you just also don't want to get catfished. Also, go and visit. Like, I went and visited various breeders because I wanted to meet the breeder. I wanted to see where the puppies were. I wanted to meet the parent dogs. And like, I ended up on a random Amish farm in Ohio in the middle of nowhere. Props to my girlfriend who went out with me on that wild trip. You do all your research by using a website and a tool like AKC. You do all the filtering. You finally figure out, like, these are the top 3 breeders I love. Get in touch with them early on, because then you have to wait until puppies are available. If you're super particular, I'm a little bit psycho, you get in touch with the breeders early and just make sure that you make an impression on them, because they should care who these puppies are going to. Make sure that you get on their radar and on their list for future upcoming, for example, in my case, chocolate brown Newfies. So even like, let's say you fall in love with a breeder and dogs, there's no promise that they're going to be having puppies right away. So you might still be waiting months and months and months. Okay. How much do they cost? They're expensive. They're thousands of dollars. My Newfie was $5,000. The thing is though, and I'll get into this, they are expensive, period. The fact that these dogs start as tiny puppies and grow into gigantic puppies and then gigantic adults means that you are swapping things out. Franklin has gone through like 3 different cot sizes. He had a tiny puppy dog seat in the car. I've had to go through so many different seat covers because just his strength, his nails, whatever, like he just goes through stuff very quickly. Crates, he's had various sized crates. Training, baths cost more as their weight goes up, de-shedding treatments, medicines. I mentioned allergies, I mentioned skin issues, bone issues, like all of the things. Just know that your upfront investment is not the only cost of these dogs, and it is important that if you're getting a big breed, that you are anticipating to take the best care of your dog possible and not neglecting them. So please don't just think, oh, well, if they have skin issues, I'm just gonna let them like ride it out. Part of me making these videos is because I want the right type of people getting Newfies, because Newfies are the sweetest dogs, and it just would break my heart if someone owned a Newfie and didn't expect that they should have to take care of this dog. And they are a ton of work. Another reason that it took me years to find the perfect Newfie, Franklin, is because I had a job and worked in San Francisco Bay Area when I first fell in love with Newfies, and back to the point of creating a lifestyle that is best for your dog. I couldn't just have him in like a landlocked situation where I had a tiny Prius. By the way, I love a Prius, I love a Toyota, but just size-wise, I couldn't see that working for me. And my apartment was small, tons of people everywhere. It just didn't feel like I was giving him the best scenario. And it actually pushed me to like work harder, if we're being honest. And an opportunity presented itself to me at work. I ended up interviewing for a role, and they asked me upon getting it if I would move to Nashville in Tennessee. And I said, absolutely. I'd been out to Franklin, Tennessee before, and I loved it. And I thought, this is the chance. This is the chance. Like, every decision that I make in this move, I'm going to consider my Newfie that I don't have yet, but I'm going to get. And I've already been doing my research on. I ended up, it was like, I'm either going to rent or buy a place, depending on the market. I ended up buying a place. I ended up investing in a vehicle that has dog mode. I love that because it allows me the chance to bring Franklin everywhere that I go. He has dog mode, which keeps the car cool for him, whether I'm there or not. We have tons of parks and lots of land near us. People are generally dog people. And all of these things are considerations. If you're going to get a Newfie, you know, do you have a yard? Newfies do like to sleep quite a bit as they become adults, but if you're considering getting this dog because you think you're not going to do a lot of work, that is not the right reason. Especially like when they're potty training, it's important that their feet are on grass. We do right now live in a property where there are balconies, so you can also get grass, like grass patches that you use on your balcony or wherever to potty train your dog. But like Franklin loves to go on walks. He loves to run around with toys. He loves to meet other dogs. And just there's generally a ton of work with this type of dog, period. Franklin's about 1.5, as I mentioned earlier. And I'm telling you, I feel like I dedicated at least the first year to him fully, meaning I missed out on certain things but now I feel like I can leave him at home alone longer. He still requires tons of brushing, exercise, love, play. They're just the sweetest thing in the world. You're constantly cleaning saliva off the walls. There's fur, there's this, there's that. Going to the vet, staying on top of vaccinations. So if you're thinking about getting a Newfoundland, I hope that this channel helps you a lot. Let me know what you're thinking about. If you have questions, let me know how much you love your Newfie. Over the next few videos, we can go deeper into breeders, cost, training, grooming, travel. We go on tons of road trips. Let's see what else comes up a lot. Basically everything I wish I had known before Franklin came home. And then like what I've learned along the way too. We have tons of like tricks and tools up our sleeve. Thanks for being here. Thanks for loving Franklin.